Shred clearly saw that the two black shadows rushing right behind the Rolls-Royce were the trucks that were supposed to cause a car accident at the tunnel entrance and seal the intersection. These two cars are fast, and they are driving side by side, completely occupying the entire road. Now that they are getting closer and closer to the Rolls-Royce driven by himself, there is no intention to stop. Shred was shocked by this. After all, he is a person with a strong sense of anti-reconnaissance, so he immediately realized that a major change had happened. He thought nervously in his heart. Before this, the whole thing was proceeding in accordance with the plan made by me and the Sioux family, including me being discovered by the police, including me being chased into Treasure Pavilion, including me taking the woman and girl as hostages, and even including me taking the two of them to flee. Everything did go according to the original plan. However, only the two trucks in front of us have a major deviation from the original plan. They too shouldn't be here. These are now rushing towards them at such a fast speed. At first glance, this is not a good sign. Shred is not a fool. He watched the news and videos of major car accidents on TV. Knowing that trucks traveling at high speeds are simply the most lethal vehicles on the ground. A truck of hundreds of tons rushes at a speed of more than 100 kilometers per hour, and even a tank may not be able to handle the impact. If it's a car, it will be knocked out directly. What's more terrifying is that there is no way to escape before this fucking thing. If the front is unobstructed, with the power and acceleration of Rolls-Royce, these two big trucks can only eat farts in the back. However, the road ahead was blocked by two other trucks, and there was nowhere to escape. Seeing that the two large trucks were getting closer, Shred's eyes were split in anger, and he couldn't help but gritted his teeth and cursed, "Damn. I didn't expect the Sioux family to be so untrustworthy. They let me kill you too. They also wanted to kill me too. The Sioux clan makes it a great way to unload the grind and kill the donkey." Ziyu thought that Shred would directly shoot her and her mother. But she didn't expect that Shred suddenly looked at the rear windshield and scolded the Sioux family with a look of resentment. So she turned her head subconsciously and immediately saw the two large trucks getting closer and closer. With her IQ, she understood the situation almost immediately. She smiled bitterly and said to Shred, "You knew that the Sioux family would even kill you. You should have thought that they would never let you live and go away like that." Shred looked desperate and murmured, "You were right, I was completely fucked by the Sioux family as a gunman." After that, Shred suddenly became very irritable, crying and cursing. "What the H3LL are you, stupid family? Since you are a mess, at least the morality of the world is always going to be untrustworthy forever?" Quote. Ziyu sneered and said, "You are a murderer who can take the lives of others by taking other people's money. What are you talking about?" Shred immediately scolded, "Damn, fucking with me. Believe it or not, I will shot you to death." Ziyu smiled miserably, and said without concession, "Just shoot and give me a good time. It's much better to be shot to death by you than to be hit by a truck into a can of meat and then die a painful death." As soon as Shred heard this, his face paled in shock. Although he is a gangster with many life-threatening experiences, he is also afraid of death and pain. If he is really like the dead in a major car accident, and then slowly dies after being hit, then he would rather prefer to die simply. Ziyu saw that he was already completely panicked, and his expression was full of contempt, and said coldly, "Why, you usually kill people like Numb, but now you are afraid of death?" Shred ignored Ziyu's ridicule at this time, and blurted out, "Aren't you afraid of death?" Ziyu said coldly, "If I am mortal, what's the use of being afraid? Can you escape if you are afraid?" Shred was silent for a moment. Ziyu was right. In this situation, there is no chance to escape. If you can't drive past, it will be worse if you get off. If the human body is directly run over by an overloaded truck, it will basically become muddy. Ziyu said at this time, "Don't you have a bomb on your body? Just detonate it." That way, death can alleviate a little pain. Shred smiled bitterly. I don't have any fucking bombs, all the fucking are fake. As he said, he picked up the detonator, pressed it several times, and said bitterly, look, there is no reaction at all. Ziyu did not expect that this shred would be rubbish from the beginning to the end. When she thought that she and her mother would be buried in this tunnel because of this person, she felt 10,000 in her heart. However, at this moment, she also realized that she and her mother had no chance of escaping from birth, leaving a window of life for her, and there were dozens of seconds at most. At this moment, she could already feel the strong vibration caused by the two overloaded trucks driving at high speed. At this moment, her arms tightly hugged Leona beside her. At the same time, Charlie's helicopter had swooped down and appeared on the other side of the mountain. The helicopter is constantly lowering its altitude over the tunnel entrance at this end, but as it gets closer to the ground, the pilot's descent speed has become more and more cautious. Just now, seeing that Rolls-Royce entered and two big trucks rushing in, Charlie realized the other party's strategy. The Su family must have wanted to create a serious traffic accident and solve Leona, Ziyu, and Shred all at once. In the tunnel, these three people would never have a chance to escape. Therefore, Charlie kept urging the pilot, go down faster, if you are slow, I'm afraid it will be too late to save people. The pilot blurted out, Master. There is a radar on the bottom of the plane to detect the distance between the fuselage and the ground in real time. Once the distance is within 20 meters, it will forcefully maintain the descent speed within a safe range. I don't think I can get it faster. Quote. Charlie looked at the ground, and the height was almost a dozen meters, not to mention, it was at least 5 stories high. If he follow this descent speed, he will have to wait at least 20 or 30 seconds before landing, so he immediately unfastened his seatbelt, opened the hatch, and said to Isaac, take someone to hold a gun at the tunnel entrance. Anyone who dares to support him release the bullets. Isaac hurriedly asked, Master, are you going to? Before he finished speaking, Charlie had already jumped off the helicopter. For Charlie, although he had never jumped from such a high place, he continued to take a lot of rejuvenation pills to improve his physique, and he also has his aura as support. Therefore, he can be sure that with his current physical strength, there will be no problem jumping from such a high level. Really? Charlie leapt and fell heavily on the ground in the blink of an eye. Although his legs had withstood a huge impact in an instant, they were completely within the range of his body's bearing range. At the moment he landed, he did not dare to have any delay, and quickly rushed toward the tunnel entrance. At this time, he heard a huge impact suddenly coming from inside. Boom!